west. A second, larger building, also with stone pillars and facades, held a hall and 5 rooms. Abhay made mental plan for each room. In this room, kirtans and lectures with large gathering. In this room, the deity of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In these rooms, residents, brahmacharis and sannyasis guest here. An office there, the printing press here. So there was even land for grazing a cow. It was a self-contained unit. Hundreds of people could come here for kirtan, prasadam, and discourses. Preachers could go out from here, distributing back to Godhead magazines. Some could even go abroad with Lord Chaitanya's message. So we end at that. So we will continue. As Abhay and his companions walked through the compound, appreciating it as a suitable place to start an ashram, his companion encouraged him, saying they were sure that Mr. Revasankar Bhayal, the agent who handed all the properties of Radhabai's descendants, would have no objections to Abhai's living there. Why couldn't the landlord give him the building? Abhay asked. They were simply going to waste. If it were actually to be a memorial to Radha, it should be used in Krishna's service, since Krishna is Radha's worshipable Lord. Prabhupada always find good point. Abhay was determined, and his friend agreed to help him. First, they met with Ramamitra, who said that he was such a close friend of Mr. Bhayal's that Mr. Bhayal would probably give the place simply at his request. Dr. Sastry says that he also wanted to go to impress upon Mr. Bhayal how much the people of Jhansi wanted Abhay to have this place. Wonderful. When River Shankar Bhayal met with his friend Ramamitra, also present were Abhay, Dr. Sastry, Radhelal Mulik, Prabhakar Mishra, and Suryamukhi Sharma, a young, educated Jhansi woman. They presented the case from several angles, and Mr. Bhayal listened. He agreed that he wasn't using the place at present, and this seemed to be a good cause. He agreed to let Abhay use the facilities for his league of devotees for as long as he liked. And at Abhay's request, he agreed to become a member of the league. Prabhupada never let them go. They shook hands. On behalf of the estate, Mr. Bhayal presented the Bharti Bhavan properties in charity to Abhay Charan Day and the League of Devotees. During December and January, Abhay prepared a League of Devotees charter. He wanted to begin vigorous, extensive preaching, following the example of his spiritual master. Once he began to set his goals to paper, the project immediately began to expand. Beyond Jhansi, beyond India. Of course, the League of Devotees was for the young people of Jhansi, and they were already expressing great interest. By Abhay's charter described more than merely evening classes and kirtan. It was a broad scheme, including a description of the four orders of the society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, and detailed plans to accommodate a worldwide religious movement. The charter set forth a probationary period for prospective members. It describes spiritual initiation. It arranged for economic reciprocation between individual members and the League. It arranged to provide lodging for preachers, and it defined prohibited activities, illegitimate connection with the woman, intoxicating habit, diet other than regulated strictly or kingdom, vegetable kingdom, gambling, and unnecessarily sporting or recreation enterprises. Haribo. To establish his league with the register in Lucknow, Abhay required a memorandum of association signed by the league members. In this document, which was to list the objective of the society, Abhay expressed his vision for the continuation of his spiritual master mission. Like his godbrothers who had created new maths after the dissolutions of the Gaudiya Math, Abhay was forming a new branch of the Gaudiya Sampradaya to be called the League of Devotees. He was not simply claiming proprietorship of the few buildings, he was establishing a Krishna conscious society that was expanding into a world movement. His intentions were clearly not insular, but were directed toward creating centers for spiritual development all over the world. Abhay wrote, Lord Chaitanya revealed the transcendental process of approaching the absolute Godhead. And in his teaching, nothing appeared to be absurd from the point of human reasoning and nothing against any religion as accepted by the human and civilized world. In enumerating the league's goals, he included the opening of centers in all parts of the world, thus establishing the league as an international organization for spiritual development through education, culture, as also by recruiting members from all nations, creed and caste. The League would publish literature in many languages and print a monthly magazine, Back to Godhead. Abhay obtained the necessary signature for his memorandum of association. He then took the train to Lucknow and on February 4th paid the deposit of 50 rupees and filed his application, and then he returned to again Jhansi. In his room in the Radha Memorial, Abhay would rise daily at 4 a.m. and arouse his young neighbor, Prabhakar Mishra. From 4 to 5, Abhay would write. At 5, he would walk in the Antiya Tal area. At 5:30, bathe and then chant Hare Krishna on his bed until 7. When he would hold a class on the Chaitanya Charitamrita or Srimad Bhagavatam, although Prabhakar Mishra was usually the only listener, Haribol. At 8, he would return to his literary work, typing until after 10, where he would begin to prepare a meal. In the afternoon, he would often go around Jhansi, meeting people and preaching, looking for anyone willing to take part in the League of Devotees. In the early evening, he would write until 7, and when he would prepare for the kirtan and lecture, he would hold at one of various places in the city, depending on where he was invited. Although Abhay had no money for continuing back to Godhead, a well-established part of his preaching was to write essays, regardless of whether they were to be immediately published or not. He wrote a long essay, some 24,000 words, entitled Message of Godhead. He also wrote a series of chapters propounding the techniques of Bhagavad Gita, especially as they apply to world problems and science of devotion, a summary study of Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. On May 16, 1953, Abhay had a grand opening celebration for the League of Devotees with continuous reading, kirtan, and prasadam distribution from early morning until night. The buildings were decorated with leaves, flowers, and many earthen water pots. In the evening, when attendance was the greatest, Abhay lectured from the ninth chapter of Bhagavad Gita on a Rajaguhya Yoga. Prabhakar Mishra conducted a fire sacrifice, and several Brahmanas chanted mantras from Brahma Samhita. Guests received a 16-page prospectus containing Abhay's essay on the need for the league and an expose from the charter explaining its goal. It was signed Om Tat Sat. Abhay Charana Rabindo, Bhaktivedanta founder and secretary. The opening was a pleasant, auspicious event for the people of Jhansi, and hundreds gathered in the evening for Abhay's lecture. Dr. Sharma, a charter member of the League and editor of the Jhansi daily newspaper, had already publicized the event and was planning a write-up for the following day. The Gaudiya Patrika also reported on the opening. The editor of the local Theosophical Society, Sri Lakshmi Narayan Rajapalli, was also present. Although he held different philosophical opinions from Bhaktivedanta Prabhu, he is very sympathetic with this movement. In the assembly, there were many people worth mentioning. The inauguration and establishing of deity will be done soon. The assembly we request Rajapati Sri K.M. Munshi to perform the inauguration ceremony. Their center has been registered by the Society's Registration Act. Sri Bharti Bhavan is the name of Lake's building, in which they have a lecture hall and a temple that resemble the palace. The assembly has many activities at the center, and there are also facilities for members to live there. Abhay felt confident that the Bharti Bhavan would now be established and recognized as the home of the League of Devotees. He was happy to see that the opening day was not merely his private affair, but an event celebrated by the most important citizens of Jhansi. His past life was seeming further and further behind him each day. But one day, after he had been in Jhansi about 6 months, a telegram arrived, bringing a startling reminder of his past connections. His business in Allahabad had been burglarized. His servant had stolen all his money and medicine and anything else of value. It had been a loss of 7,000 rupees, and 7,000 rupees at that time, so valuable. Abhay read the news, laughed, and uttered the Bhagavatam verse. Yasyaham anugrahnami harisyatad dhanam sanai, tato dhananam tajanti asya, swajana dukkha dukkhitam. Prabhakar Mishra advised Abhay to go back to Allahabad to recover what he could. No, Abhay said, this is good for me. I was sad, but now one great attachment has come to an end, and my life is fully surrendered and dedicated to Sri Sri Radha Madhav. Abhay's son Vrindavan soon arrived in Jhansi, requesting Abhay to come to Calcutta to revive the business. Abhay Chanande and sons, as they sat together in Abhay's room at the Radha Memorial, Abhay explained that he could not go back. He requested Vrindavan to stay and assist him by doing typewriting, but Vrindavan returned to Calcutta. From his first meeting with Prabhakar, Abhay had urged the younger, educated man to take part in the League of Devotees as a full-time assistant. Although as lecturer and medical officer, Prabhakar had many duties at the university. He helped as much as he felt he could. He soon became Abhay's most active assistant. Abhay appointed him secretary to the league and after several months initiated him. Thus Abhay became Prabhakar's spiritual master and Prabhakar became Abhay's first disciple. Haribol. As a preacher, Abhay was duty bound to accept disciples, giving them the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and the Parampara instructions as he had received them from his spiritual master. Prabhakar, however, not being a completely surrendered disciple, remained independent, more like an assistant than a disciple. As university principal, Sanskrit scholar, and medical doctor, he continued to pursue his own interests also. So Prabhupada explaining in his own words, that league of devotees, I was alone. There were some students, but they were not so active. I was doing everything. I wanted to organize with Prabhakar Mishra and others, but they were not interested to devotee their whole time. But they were not interested to devote their whole time. If you ask him to do full-time work, they had not do. But he was initiated. They were all learned scholar in Sanskrit, medical man. Thus, when the Gaudiya Patrika had reported the opening day ceremonies, it had reported to the Prabhakar in honorable terms as Abhay partner in this league of devotees, although he was actually Srila Bhakti Vedanta's initiated disciple. Haribol. Bhaktivedanta Prabhu summoned the service of the Honorable Acharya Srimad Prabhakar Mishra Sastri, Kavya poetry, Vyakyaran, grammar, Vedanta philosophy, Tirtha, Bisp MSA to perform the sacrifice. He is the principal of a college in which the Vedas and the Vedangas are taught and degrees are given. He is also the assistant manager of the League of Devotees. So according to the time and circumstances, Abhay was engaging this young man in devotional service. Abhay was interested not in collecting disciples, but in establishing the League of Devotees. and for that he needed assistance. Prabhakar Mishra explained in his own words. When I first met Swamiji, he said to me, "You are a Brahmana and a Prabhakar, and you are eating in a restaurant? You come with me. I shall feed you myself, and I shall cook." So we would prepare prasadam and offering it to the Lord, and we would take Bhagavad prasadam together. In this way, by His mercy, I got the chance to take prasadam. He also said to me, quote, "You become Kesahin, Sevan." So I went with 7 head to the college where I taught, and everyone laughed at me. When I told Swamiji the situation, he said, "Since you are a medical officer, you can grow out of your hair." Haribol. When I took Diksha, Swamiji gave me my name, Acharya Prabhakar. Haribol. My original name was Prabhakar Mishra. So he said, "You don't write the Mishra, you are Acharya Prabhakar." And he gave me the name and offered me a tulsi mala and put tilak on my forehead and tied a kanti mala around my neck. He had registered the foundation of the League of Devotees, and he appointed me as its secretary for preaching throughout the world. We used to go to the villages for Sankirtan and Bhagavad Gita Katha continuously. Abhay started a Sankirtan movement in Jhansi, at first accompanied only by Acharya Prabhakar. He used to walk about the neighborhood of Naibhasti, chanting Hare Krishna. As he continued this practice, his group gradually increased until 50 people were gathering regularly to go out on parikrama, chant together, and visit temples. Afterwards, they would gather at the Radha Memorial for an evening lecture. When Abhay would go to preach in the nearby villages, he would usually be accompanied by whatever the league members were free. Once he went with Acharya Prabhakar on Padayatra, traveling on the foot and preaching to Chirgaon, some 20 miles from Jhansi. Somebody has unmuted and some background noise. Haribol. Gokul Prabhu and Ram Taneti Prabhu. Haribol. Welcome. In Chirgaon, there lived a nationally known poet, Maithili Sharan Gupta, who received Abhay and his disciple at his home for dinner. Abhay told his host that since he was an accomplished poet, he should write something glorifying Krishna. And the poet agreed. After preaching in Chirgaon, Abhay and Prabhakar returned to Jhansi, spending one day in each of the 5 villages along the way. At night, the villagers would gather and Abhay would lead Kirtan. He explained to Prabhakar that although most of these simple farmers were not scholars in Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, they could achieve the highest spiritual benefit simply by Kirtan. Haribol. Abhay was well received by the villagers who begged him to return soon, but to give them notice next time so that they could prepare a proper reception. While preaching locally, Abhay was simultaneously working to give an international scope to his League of Devotees. He wrote to government agencies asking them to help him expand his genuine educational project. And he also tried to recruit preachers from among his friends. He wrote to his old college classmate, Rupan Mishra in Calcutta, inviting him to join in worldwide missionary activities. What happened? Okay. Wait, stop. Hmm. Krishna wants to read without music, I guess. Okay. As Krishna's desire, everything works. What is this? My phone is flickering from main screen to this screen and other screen. Haribo. My mission. Oh, what time it is? See, Krishna is so kind. He's telling me, look at the clock. Always has some purpose behind anything he does. We need to learn to receive his message properly. Now I'm struggling to get the screenshot. Haribo. Krishna is kind today. It happened very quickly. So it's 6:54. The devotees who has to perform the activities, they are most welcome to leave. But before they leave, we would like to offer our humble obeisances at the dusk of their lotus feet. Vancha kalpataru hasya kripa sindhu bhayavacha